I've got a little video here for you if you are a stomach sleeper. And for today, this little conversation, we're actually going to be coming from my home and our own bedroom. I'm Dr. Jeffrey Hanna from Atlas Health Australia, where we focus on the alignment and the health of the upper part of your neck because of how it affects your brainstem nerve system and the health of your overall body. So what I want to talk about today is something that has to do with if you sleep on your stomach with your head turned all the way off to the side, and why that is probably not a very good idea. Now, I will preface this by saying that if you don't have a problem with your neck, okay, you can probably sleep on your stomach, no problem whatsoever. But we have a very interesting little phenomenon that is unique in the upper part of the neck that you should probably know about. So what I've got here for you is I have a couple of little bones. These represent the top bones in your neck, so the C1, otherwise known as your atlas, and then the C2 vertebra like this. These ones are shaped completely different from everything else in your body, which are designed to move like this. But these ones here are designed to support the weight of your skull, and they are what provide your ability to pivot like this. In other words, 50% of all of this movement comes from this one joint, and all of the rest is distributed through the rest of your body. Okay, whoop-de-doo, nice little trivia. Why does that matter if you're a stomach sleeper? Okay, it's not so much the bone, but I want you to think about what would be inside of the bone, right about here. Because that is where your brainstem and your nerve system is. That is what's ultimately going to control, coordinate everything that goes on in your body. Now, everywhere that you have a ring inside of your spinal canal, what you also have is you have this stuff called connective tissue. In particular, it's something that's called dura mater, arachnoid matter, pia. The names don't really matter. My point is that what they do is they actually will be protecting your brain and nerve system so that it's not directly in contact with the bone. And all of the vertebra, C3 and below, all the way down to the very bottom, they have all kinds of fat tissue and little things on the inside that help to insulate the area in particular. But when you are looking right up at the top at C1, C2, one of the things that makes this area very different is that all of that fat does not exist. So what I'm showing you, even on these silly little plastic bone models here, is that where my finger would be in the middle right there, there would be the spinal cord. Around it is going to be this protective connective tissue. And then that stuff is going to be directly anchored onto the rim of your C1 and your C2 vertebra. Now, part of the reason for that is because that is going to protect your brain when you are doing this and up and down. So that way things are not getting compressed or crushed. So it keeps everything relatively central and stable. But if you have ever had an injury that maybe hasn't broken, maybe hasn't dislocated, but it's caused something to shift just that little bit right up at the top at that atlas and axis, then when you have your head in long-term positions like this, or like this, or like this, then what it's going to do is it's going to start to turn like that and potentially be producing stress or tension that's going to be transmitted from the bone through that connective tissue and then into the nerve system. Now, why does that matter in the case of people who have migraines or nausea or different things like that? And it's because that connective tissue is controlled and receives all of the sensory information to the part of your brain that's going to be responsible for processing pain, balance, and also just the general sense of, shall we say, abdominal discomfort. In other words, what I'm saying is it's the exact same nerve that's responsible for GI, so the health of your gut health, and also the lining in and around your upper neck and your brain. So if you have irritation of those tissues, that information can spill over into other parts of your brain. So all of a sudden, you wake up in the morning or something like that and you've got a headache, or you've got a migraine, or you feel dizzy or vertigo, or you have a bit of nausea, all because we're talking about irritation of the exact same structures. So, sleeping on the stomach, not a good idea because of all of the stress and tension that it's going to place on your neck. I've seen it any number of times. I've been doing this for a long time here now. That it's also one of the hardest habits that I can ever ask a person to change because, of course, you're asleep. Nevertheless, it's one of the more important ones that you may need to seriously look at, especially if you're dealing with some kind of chronic pain or other kind of health disorder. But what it also means is it means that odds are there's something that's not quite right with either of those bones either, and that if there's something that is able to be done to help you out, not for the purpose of sleeping on your stomach, of course, because that would be like losing a bunch of weight just so you can eat a box of donuts. It doesn't make sense. But so that you can take the pressure out of that system so that you can have the kind of quality of life, better health, feeling better, doing all the things that you would like to do, then that might be something that you want to consider. So a little bit of a different kind of home video here, again, rather than the office, but at least we're going to be on in the right kind of place for sleeping here. So if you have been, number one, I'll say this, is if you're a stomach sleeper, if you know a stomach sleeper, then what I would do is I'd encourage you, please share this video with them, just so that they know, okay, what's going on, why it may not be the best for them. But number two, I'm going to direct you towards our website, which is atlashealth.com.au, where you can find all kinds of different information, conditions, videos just like this one, that if you are dealing with some kind of long-term health issue, very might be well related to your neck. And so if there are different things that can be done to help you out, of course, all the better. This is Dr. Jeffrey Hanna at Atlas Health Australia, the brain and body connection.